This is Larry Anaras making your day with the second part of an article I wrote on money for those who do not have enough of it. And this chapter is entitled, How Banks Were Born. And so people in a market economy produced more than they needed and exchanged this for other goods and saved their surplus wealth in terms of gold and silver. The very rich found it necessary to build special money counting rooms to hoard their gold and silver and protect them from thieves and robbers. These rooms had vaults with special locks and armed guards. The not so rich who had gold to store but could not afford to build special vaults would approach the very rich and who had vaults to please store their gold also for a price. So the very rich began to rent out space in their vaults for anyone who would like to deposit their gold there. The very rich with vaults issued receipts to their depositors when the gold was received for storage. They became the first bankers. Now, Mr. Banker was a smart man. It did not take long for him to realize that his depositors rarely took back the money that they deposited. Not only that, for every withdrawal of gold, there were also deposits. And while a certain amount of gold were being moved in and out of the vaults, there is a lot more gold that is just sitting in the vault gathering cobwebs. So, the smart Mr. Banker lent the gold, the surplus gold, to other people who paid them for the privilege. He was giving out bank loans and charging interest. He was lending out money that belonged to the depositors, who were also paying him to store their gold. Yeah. Mr. Banker was really smart. More about this after these messages. This is Larry Anaras making your day with the second part of an article I wrote on money for those who do not have enough. Chapter, How Banks Were Born. And I continue to quote. Of course, the depositors finally realized what the Mr. Banker was doing with their gold and threatened to withdraw their deposits. The banker finally offered to pay them for depositing the gold with him. He paid them interest. The depositors not only had their gold stored and protected for free, but also got paid for the privilege. The banks became institutions that lived on and were passed on from one generation to another. Successful bankers became trusted members of the community. Bank depositors were issued receipts certifying that they had gold deposited with the banker. Very soon, people who did not like to carry gold around for various reasons, gold was too heavy to carry, and there were robbers everywhere. So they began to pay for their purchases with these receipts. And these receipts were called notes, and they were the first paper money ever issued. These notes usually worded thus: this note certifies that the bearer has on deposit with this bank 100 pieces of gold coins. Such an amount may be withdrawn from the bank upon presentation of this note. So banks began to issue banknotes of various denominations that became the paper money of their day. As a matter of fact, the first paper money in the Philippines was issued by the Bank of the Philippine Islands, BPI, still existing, way back during the Spanish times. Paper money greatly facilitated market transactions and gave birth to the modern economic system. Just as he found that not all the gold in his vaults are needed for everyday transactions, the banker found that he could safely issue more paper money where there are gold in his vaults to back them up. In other words, he issued banknotes for more gold than he had in his vaults. In modern times, this is called creating credit. In the old times, this was considered fraudulent and called for a lynching. Issuing surplus bank notes is fine as long as the depositors did not ask for their gold all at once. If they did, then the bank had a run, and the depositors would lose confidence in their banker and would drive him to bankruptcy and or to a place of execution. More tomorrow, my dear friends. This is Lara Henares, making your day, saying good day, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us. Till next time, hasta la bye-bye.